What's up, guys? Episode 4 is underway. We have 13 games to go through. I originally was going to meet up with my friend Paulie at a sports book and do all of this, but I had some schedule changes at work today, so had to kind of change it and do it solo. We got 13 games. We got 9 top 25 teams playing, 7 of which are laying double-digit wood. We're going to go through this kind of like we always do and dissect this, try to find some good value at some places and try to steer you guys in the right direction. Like I said, 13 games on the docket today. Big Tuesday. They call it Super Tuesday for a reason, so there's games everywhere. So this is going to be a little bit longer than most, so I'm going to try to rapid fire this to be as efficient as possible for you guys. That way you guys can watch this on your lunch break or whatever and kind of figure out where you want to go with everything. First game of the day is 4 o'clock ESPN2. Number 9, Michigan State at Illinois. Michigan State is 18-4 and Illinois is 7-15. Michigan State's coming off that tough loss on Saturday. They're coming off a loss. They've been really good since Tom Izzo's been their coach. They're definitely the better team, but this is one of those top 25 teams that are laying that double-digit wood. They're laying 10 on the road at Illinois. Illinois won their last game at home. Illinois is a lot better at home than on the road, but Michigan State's a far superior team. Everyone's on Michigan State, so it's really tough to take that double-digit road wood, especially when everybody's on it. But I don't have the faith in Illinois whatsoever to hang in this game. Since they're at home, though, Illinois could score some baskets and keep that right around that 10 realm. If that happens, take a look at the over. It's sitting at 147 right now. Everybody is on the under in this game. Michigan State and Illinois, they both kind of run and gun. So that could be something to look into potentially if you think Illinois is going to keep it close. If you think Illinois is going to get blown out, just stay off the game. And obviously, Michigan State probably wins this game. I don't see them faltering, especially coming off a loss. I think Izzo gets those guys focused. They got Cassius Winston, Nick Ward. These guys are studs. I mean, they're all seniors and juniors, so they got the experience factor. Illinois is pretty young, but they do play better at home. So be careful with that game either way you go. But like I said, if you think Illinois is going to keep it right around that 10-15 margin, the over is probably the way to go. Second game is Pitt at Wake Forest, 2 bottom feeders in the ACC. Pitt comes in at 12-10. Wake Forest comes in at 8-13. 3-point road favorite for Pitt. Over-unders 139. This should be another game where maybe you look at the over. I'm seeing some people favoring the under in this game. These two teams are young, run-and-gun style. It's hard, though, because when you get two teams that aren't so good, they tend to lock each other up. That happened in the Northwestern Penn State game yesterday where they only scored about 111 total points. So it could be something similar. Probably a stay-away game overall. Reason being is I don't have faith in putting money into either or, just based off of their records and what they've done thus far. Third game is the biggest spread of the day. Duke laying 23.5 to Boston College. Boston College got a kid named Kai Bowman. He drops buckets, 21 points a game. But I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Duke. I mean, Duke got the 3 best players in the country, and Zion and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish. They are 3 of the top 5 in the NBA draft next year. They've been immaculate. So I would never bet against Duke because they could easily win this game by 30. If Kai Bowman balls out and they put on a good show and keep up, this is another game where I'm looking at the over. It's high. It's 156.5, but I can see Duke scoring 90 to 100. So if Boston College can score somewhere in the 70s, you're good. With that being a high line, I don't like laying that much chalk, and I'm not going to bet Duke. Maybe just go the over and just root for buckets. Next game, my Kentucky Wildcats. You guys that know me, I'm Kentucky and West Virginia all the way. Kentucky's on absolute fire. They've won a ton in a row, playing the best basketball they've played all season. They're really coming around. They always peak at this time this year because Calipari always has those young freshmen. Keldon Johnson, great player. Tyler Hero. We got some good big men. Very well balanced as a team. Been playing a lot of good defense lately as well. And we're catching Vanderbilt. We're catching South Carolina. South Carolina's 11-10 coming into Lexington. But too much chalk again, 15.5. I'm not laying that. I can't. This is a stay away game for me because I have emotional ties to this game. I'm just going to watch my Cats play tonight, and I can't really steer you one way or the other. I don't think either side's safe. It's probably spot on. So good luck with that. Do whatever you think. 5 o'clock FS1 is St. John's at Marquette. Marquette's another team that's on an absolute roll, coming in at 19-3. Marcus Howard's the 5th leading scorer in the country, scoring 28 points a game. He can flat out light it up. They also have the Hauser brothers. Them two guys, they have one's a guard, one's a big man. They both can shoot it lights out. They're the best free throw percentage team in the Big East. They're playing St. John's, who are coming off a 30-point loss to Duke on Saturday. Tough gauntlet for them to play that and go into Marquette. Marquette comes in here top 10. They're number 10 in the country. They've won a bunch in a row. They're tough to beat at home. They're laying a little 6.5. This is one of the teams that's not laying those double digits today. I don't have really much in this game. Should be a high-scoring game, but everyone's betting that over, so that scares me a little bit. And Marquette's not laying that much. St. John's has a guy named Shamori Pons who can absolutely light it up. These two teams, they run and gun, and they score a lot. So I don't have a way to steer you guys. Do whatever you feel in that game as well. 5 o'clock Big Ten Network, Michigan at Rutgers. Michigan comes in number 7 in the country, 20-2. Rutgers is 11-10. A way different team at home than they are on the road. They are absolutely atrocious on the road. At home, they play a little bit more inspired. This is a slow-paced defensive game all day long. Shout out to my boy Chris Robinson. Me and him have an ongoing joke. I think I faded Michigan like 10 games in a row because I don't think they score efficiently enough for me. Coming to the road to Piscataway in Rutgers, Rutgers can lock them down, man. They play good D. This should be a very low-scoring game. Everyone's on the over, so I'd look at the under in this game. It's low. Let me see where it is here. I can't find the number. I didn't write the number down. Just look it up. Should be a low-scoring game, I think. Michigan, once again, they don't score that much. I'm fading Michigan again. Rutgers is catching 10. I think that's good value on Rutgers. At the same point, though, Michigan's definitely way better. But Rutgers, like I said, at home, just look into that, okay? Next game is Missouri at Tennessee. Tennessee, number 1 in the country, coming in at 20-1. Missouri's 11-9. They are not very good. However, I am not going to lay 18 points with Tennessee. Like I touched with Tennessee, they have Admiral Schofield. They have Grant Williams. They have grown men on their team. They're really well coached. Rick Barnes got those guys playing very inspired basketball, and they're tough to beat at home. But I'm not laying 18. I also don't feel comfortable taking 18 with Missouri either. Probably a complete stay-away game for me also, so you guys bet at your own risk there. I don't really have any trends or anything. I mean, if it's any consolation, everyone's betting the Vols and everyone's betting the over, but Tennessee's been dropping like 90 points. So it's hard to take an under to a team who's been scoring 90-plus every single game and just blowing everybody out. So I probably just watch this game, see how it plays out, and move on. Next game, this is a showdown. Kansas at Kansas State. Kansas is number 13th in the country. Kansas State is unranked. Kansas State has not lost a game since their senior forward, Dean Wade, returned to the lineup. He's their best player. They play lockdown defense. Kansas, we've touched base on this in the first couple of episodes when Kansas has been on our big sheet. They're bad on the road, man. They can't win on the road. I don't like Kansas State in this game. I'm seeing a lot of people taking them. The Jayhawks are good. Bill Self's going to have these guys ready to play. This is going to be a defensive game, which leans me towards the over. I got 64% of the bets on the over right now. I like the under. The over-under right now sits at 133. That's pretty low. Kansas State's the best defensive team in the Big 12, and with Kansas's inability to score on the road, I think this is going to be a 60-some to 50-some type of game. Kansas State plays at their pace. I don't think Kansas is going to speed them up much. Kansas doesn't mind playing that slow, grind-out game either because they got athletes everywhere with, Dedrick Lawson, obviously a National Player of the Year candidate for Kansas. I look for a low-scoring game. I really like the under in this game. It's sitting at 133. I think that's good value there. Next game is Vanderbilt at Arkansas. Arkansas is 13-8. Vandy is 9-12. We got Vandy getting 7.5. Over/under is 147. I think this is an absolute shootout. Arkansas runs and guns. They can score at home. They got that Gafford kid who's been dropping 20, it seems like, every game. Vandy's not very good, and they don't play very much defense. This could be a game I see Arkansas potentially get into the 85, 90-point range. It ain't like Arkansas locks down on defense either. They give up a lot of points. Over/under sitting at 147, and I got 67% on the under. So I think those two teams score a lot. Something like 80-some to 70-some, something like that. I think you're in the 150 realm in that game, especially since Arkansas is at home. They can play that run and gun tempo that they love to play. Vandy's not very good, so whatever Arkansas dictates the tempo to be, Vandy's going to run with them. They're not going to be able to slow these guys down. They're going to have to keep up. Florida at Auburn. Auburn comes in at 15-6. They started off strong. They were top 10 for a while. They've lost a few in a row. They've been faltering a lot. Florida is one of those teams who are a completely different team on the road than they are at home. Florida's coming in at 12-9. I got Auburn as an 8-point favorite, and I got the total at 137.5. Auburn's inability to be consistent. They do have Jared Harper and Bryce Brown, two phenomenal guards for Bruce Pearl. Florida's guards, though, locked down. Florida being on the road, I think they have a chance to really slow that game down and try to stay in it. They're going to have to because they're not running and gunning with Auburn. I'm kind of pointing to the under in this game. I got 83% of the bets on the over, 137.5. Everyone's on that over because Auburn does run and gun. But I think Florida, who's very disciplined and especially defensively, can really slow those guys down just to stay in the game. I mean, they're catching 8, so to stay in that realm, they're going to have to play their style and slow it down. 137.5 is a good bit of points. Could be another one of those games that end up in the 60s, but more on the lower end of the 60s, not the higher end. I can see the under coming in this game for sure. Next game, San Diego State at New Mexico. This is 8 o'clock ESPN2. This is actually my dog upset special of the day. New Mexico is one of them teams that plays great at home and terrible on the road. San Diego State's been wishy-washy. They've won a few in a row. Mexico's lost a couple in a row. That's leaning everybody on San Diego State. I myself think New Mexico may pull this game off. If you remember correctly, about a month ago, they upset Nevada in that building. So when they played down there at the Pit, down there in Albuquerque, way different team. They run and gun. San Diego State's not as good as they have been in past years. I think I see great value. I got this game capped at a pick'em on my numbers, and you're getting New Mexico getting 2.5. This is like identical to that Oklahoma and Iowa State game last night where Oklahoma got a backdoor cover. I look for something like that to potentially happen. If you want to be ballsy, take the money line, but New Mexico getting the points, I think that's safe. I think they have a very good opportunity to win that game outright. Next game's at 5 o'clock. These last two games I'm going to go over. They're not on national television, but you can watch them on your iPads, tablets, computers on ESPN3. I only put these on here because they're ranked teams that are playing. We got number 8 North Carolina against NC State. North Carolina is a 10.5-point favorite at home, and the over-under is 164. North Carolina came off of a butt-whooping of Louisville on Saturday. NC State had their worst scoring output in school history on Saturday when they played at home against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech held them to 24 points, which is the lowest in school history. Keep this in mind. Over-under in this game is 164 points. The Tar Heels they remind me of Kentucky a lot. They've been playing a lot better basketball. They look great. Their freshmen are coming together just like UK's are. Everyone's sleeping on NC State to score points based off of what they saw on Saturday, but that means nothing. All that is public perception, right? So people are taking the under in this game because it's so high. The last time these two teams played at NC State, UNC won 90-82. That's 172. That's higher than what the total is today. I have a slight lean on that over. The only reason I'm not giving it out as an actual play is because it's so high. But look into that because NC State runs and goes, so does UNC. These guys are just going to get up and down and score on each other. NC State's going to be really focused to score after only scoring 24 points in a game. I mean, that's a no-brainer. So maybe look into the over there. The line's a little high, and I'm seeing action on UNC. I personally think UNC probably blows them out, but with that much public money on it, I'm kind of off it. I'd rather bet the over than North Carolina. We're at 15 minutes here, guys, so I'm going to wrap this thing up. Our last game is also on ESPN3. We got number 22 Florida State at the Carrier Dome playing Jim Boeheim and Syracuse. The kicker in this game is that dome. I talked with Chris Robinson earlier, one of my good friends up in Boise, and we agreed that zone's going to be the kicker. Florida State has a lot of athletic players. They're not necessarily the best shooting team, but they can get to the rim. So if they can penetrate that zone, they'll hang in there. I'm looking at Syracuse minus 2.5 and over under 137. My studying is leaning me towards the over in this game. It's kind of low at 137. Florida State's way more athletic, and Syracuse can score. I mean, they did upset Duke on the road, so they can score. Two kind of relatively high-scoring teams, but contrasting styles. Florida State runs and guns with all their athletes. Syracuse kind of slows it down, but they got guys that can fill it up, and they play that 2-3. If Florida State can break down that zone and pass the ball around and find those open spots in the zone and score, that's the easiest over on the board. If the 2-3 zone locks them down, that's going to be the key to the game. So if Florida State can penetrate that zone and play well against it, the over is a lock in this game. So look out for that. Maybe watch the first half, see how they're doing against the zone, and take that second half over, because if they're getting into the swing of it and getting better as we go in the second half, once they make their adjustments, they're going to be able to score more against it. So that's it, guys. We're at 16:50. I'm going to cut this short at 17 minutes. It's our second longest podcast. And thank you guys again. View this, like it, hit me up for advice, or spread the word. This is fun, and eventually we're going to get a guest on here. I just have such a busy schedule business-wise, and it's really hard to make time to do this with anybody. But I promise you guys, eventually I will have a guest on here. And that's pretty much it, guys. Enjoy your Tuesday. Have a good week, and we'll talk next time.